Hi guys, JT here, and with every Humble Monthly, the question is, what are the games like? Well, here's a bit of information of each game in this month's Humble Monthly to help you decide if it is for you. If you want to see more game deals like this, then smash that like and subscribe buttons. Let's get into it. At number 1, we have the feature game of this month, The Ascent. An action RPG game that is reminiscent to Diablo, but it is a twin-stick shooter in a cyberpunk world. You play as a worker enslaved by your corporate overlord, the Ascent group, who polices the planet. However, upon the bankruptcy of the Ascent group, a power vacuum was created, and everybody on the planet wants a piece of the planet. Your district in the sewers is under threat, and you go on an adventure to uncover what has happened that caused the fall and the chaos. The story isn't the strongest suit, but it is interesting enough if you bother talking to the NPCs. There is a great feeling of progression in the environment, where you start in the sewers and fight your way through to the top levels of the planet where the rich and powerful live. Being an RPG game, you get the opportunity to create your character and level up your skills and gain special abilities as you complete main and side quests, which are aplenty. Gather your guns and blast through cyberpunk rats, gang members, monsters, aliens, corporate security bodyguards, etc, etc. The shooting is where the game really shines. Guns sound great, and the satisfaction of literally blowing your enemies into pieces is second to none. Skills that you can gain, like the ability to punch your enemies with a force punch, is extremely fun to use. And this fun is dialed up even more in co-op. So you and your friend could go on a killing spree, murdering cyberpunk aliens and creatures and watching them splatter all over the floor. The world is also interesting to explore, and it can be very rewarding as some loot and secret access cards can only be obtained from exploration. However, in saying that, loot isn't really the main focus of the game, despite being like a Diablo game. So don't expect to see many different types of guns being hoarded in your inventory. If you're into a fun twin-stick shooter, especially with a co-op partner, then The Ascent is a great game to play. At number 2, we have Hot Wheels Unleashed. An arcade racing game that reminds you of your childhood days of dragging your little Hot Wheels car around the ground, pretending that you are driving the coolest looking car on the planet. This game is great if you're into arcade racing games and want to have a bit of nostalgia. You literally control toy cars from the Hot Wheels toy line, racing and drifting them on racetracks that are also from the Hot Wheels toy line, bringing some sense of realism, but at the same time a bit like being a toy from Toy Story. Collect in-game currency as you race as your favorite toy car and buy mystery boxes, aka blind boxes, in hopes that you unlock more cars and collect them all, and there is a lot of cars to collect. Don't worry though, as these mystery boxes can only be bought with the in-game currency, so the evil real money premium loot boxes doesn't exist in this game. There are even guest car appearances like the ever-popular DeLorean from Back to the Future, which you can unlock and race. One of the greatest features of this game is the ability to build custom tracks and race in it, bringing endless possibilities to racetracks that you can download from the community and play. This game feeds the Hoarder mentality where you just want to collect all them Hot Wheels cars like a kid. I would definitely recommend this game, especially if you're into Hot Wheels and also arcade racing games. At number 3, we have A Plague Tale: Innocence. An action-adventure stealth game set in 1349 plague-ridden France. You play as a sister with a little brother in tow, and you're thrust into the rat and disease-infested France with survival as your ultimate goal. Just to apply more salt to your wound, Fhdgw is affected with a mysterious illness as a child, and France is at war with Great Britain. So you have to deal with the world hunting you down, a war, the rat plague, and also Fhdgw's illness. Great! Moreover, if you leave Fhdgw on his own for long periods of time, he starts freaking out and attracts enemies to himself. So you have to protect your brother and not leave his side. This game is heavily focused on a linear story, so don't expect to be able to openly explore plague-ridden France. Combat is secondary in this game, as you will spend most of your time hiding from inquisitors and distracting them with sound. You occasionally get to take them down, but most of the time, if you get caught, you will die quite quickly as you can be killed with one hit. The next enemy in this game are the swarm of rats, and the way you get rid of them is with light and fire, so be sure to pack a torch with you. A Plague Tale: Innocence is a great game to sink yourself into. It has an interesting premise, plenty of plot mysteries to uncover, and teeth-gritting stealth moments. At number 4, we have Gas Station Simulator. Ever dreamed of running your own gas station? Or have you worked at a gas station and wondered what it'll be like to be the boss? Well, now you can experience that in Gas Station Simulator. You play as the new owner of a beat-up gas station, and you have the backing of your wealthy uncle to get you started. Your job is to grow your gas station, make a profit, and be the best gas station in town. However, you soon find out that your uncle isn't what you thought he was, and now you have gang members coming in asking for money which you owe. So now your job is to not only grow your gas station, but to survive and make sure you don't end up in the bottom of the river tied to a sunken car. As the gas station owner, you start rebuilding the beat-up gas station and then involves some renovation, acquiring equipment, and painting. Then you are to help the citizens of Route 66 fill up their cars and provide them with everything a gas station could provide, like food, drinks, and mechanical service. You are running the gas station alone though, so you will be filling up cars, working at the checkout counter, scanning barcodes, ordering stock, fixing things, etc. It may sound mundane, but it actually isn't. The gameplay is actually very entertaining if you're into simulator-style games, and it'll surprise you, so I would suggest that you give Gas Station Simulator a try. At number 5, we have In Sound Mind, a psychological horror mystery game that will have you questioning your sanity and reality. You play as an unknown character, awakened in an apartment building. You don't know how you got there or who you even are. Upon exploring the apartment, you discover that you're a therapist, and to move on through the game, you have to listen to therapy sessions that you have had with your patients. However, upon playing these tapes, you are transported to twisted worlds that are the representation of the psyche of your patients, and you are to explore and survive this world looking for a way out. Being a world represented by the mind, reality will bend very frequently. One moment you may be looking at something, and the next moment when you turn back around, that something would have changed to something else. There aren't any mini-maps in this game, but there are maps on the walls that you can find but can't bring along. The game does a great job guiding you through the twisted world though, so it isn't usually an issue. You aren't alone in this world either, as you are constantly hunted by monsters and also bosses of each world, akin to Jack Baker, Mr. X, and Nemesis from the Resident Evil series. However, unlike the Resident Evil stalkers, the way you handle each boss will be different, and they are unique to each of the worlds. Like a boss who can't stand looking at herself in the mirror means that you have to find a mirror to thwart her attempts at ripping your throat out with her bare fingers, or staying off the ground to thwart a boss who is like a puddle of shadow on the floor. This keeps the game fresh throughout your playtime. There are guns in this game, but the shooting isn't the smoothest, and you are meant to be sneaky, ambushing enemies and taking them out instead of going guns blazing. I would highly recommend this game if you're into a good horror game with an interesting setting and an even more interesting world. At number 6, we have Mind Scanner. And once again, you play as a sort of mental health doctor in some way, like in Sound Mind. However, this time you're working for a dictatorship government called the Structure. They have kidnapped your daughter, quarantined your daughter, who is suspected to have a contagious mental illness. In order to gain their trust, you agree to work as a mind scanner, and your job is to scan the minds of the citizens to decide if they have a mental illness. You're given a set amount of time each day to travel from your home to the clinic, perform mind scanning, and prescribing treatment to those who you deem mentally insane. If you get your diagnosis wrong, you lose some of your time. If you get it right, you move on to prescription of treatment, and this brings you to various mini-games which you play to treat your patients. This game plays a lot like Papers, Please, where you're left to talk to and gather information from your patients and then deciding what to do with them. Like Papers, Please, this game offers multiple endings which you can obtain through multiple playthroughs if you so choose. However, the gameplay can be quite repetitive, so prepare your mind with a mind scanning of your own sanity if you are a completionist. At number 7, we have Emily is Away Less Than 3. The third installment in the Emily is Away series of games. Just note that in my preview video, I thought Emily is Away 1 was Emily is Away 3, so this is my redemption video, you can so call it. It's 2008, and you have just made your first Facebook account, an obvious parody to Facebook. In fact, a lot of it looks like the old classic Facebook. Anyway, Emily is Away 3 is an RPG simulation game where you play as, presumably, a confused teenager trying to make new friends on Facebook. And one of its features is instant messaging, where you get to chat with others. You can't type whatever you want though, as you are presented with multiple choice responses, which will determine how other characters on Facebook respond to you. You're then faced with a choice at the start to pursue a relationship with Emily or her friend whom she had just had a falling out of, Evelyn. You are then taken on a journey through your teenage years, chatting with whoever you are pursuing. It doesn't take long to finish the game, only about 4 hours or so from start to finish. This game offers multiple endings, so if you're a completionist, you'll be spending more time chatting on Facebook. However, be forewarned though, the biggest complaint about this game is that even though Emily and Evelyn may seem like different individuals, they pretty much respond to you the same way, regardless of who you choose to pursue. I don't want to spoil the story, so if you want to experience Facebook in 2008 as a confused teenager, then I'd recommend playing this game. At number 8, we have Omno, a 3D puzzle platformer. You play as a nameless and voiceless protagonist, and you are to uncover the history and mysteries of a lost civilization. The world of Omno is beautiful as you explore and solve puzzles the world has to offer you. If you get lost, you can pull up a virtual map that will tell you where everything is so you don't miss out on anything. It is more on the relaxing side as you immerse yourself in another world. You gain new abilities over time which will enable you to solve more puzzles using said skills and traverse quicker through the landscapes. The puzzles are more on the easy side, and the game can be finished in about 4 hours. So if you're looking for a relaxing puzzle game in a beautiful world, then look no further than Omno. This month's Humble Monthly is one of the best in 2022 with a wide variety of great games in the lineup. In addition, you will be supporting National Network of Abortion Funds who aim to remove barriers to abortion access, which is a great charity to be involved in. I would highly recommend this month's bundle.